Welcome back to the Prado Museum. We're here with our weekly sessions in English on the museum's social media programming a few minutes before the museum opens, and this is a project supported by American Friends of the Prado Museum. We are a nonprofit, and we're going to take the moment to present our latest contribution to the museum, which is this beautiful Agony in the Garden by Paolo de San Leocadio. And we're going to take advantage that we are in this sublime early Italian Renaissance gallery, which on the museum map is room 56B, to also explain a little bit about the first 10 years of American Friends of the Prado Museum. We are a U.S. nonprofit that was created in 2014 to really strengthen ties and facilitate philanthropic support for the Prado Museum from the United States. And we are absolutely inspired in the Fundación Amigos del Museo del Prado with over 4 decades of work, 44,000 active donors today, and innumerable projects that help the museum's programming and its art legacy. We have a beautiful example of one of these right here, which is the incorporation a few years ago of the Virgin of the Pomegranate by Fra Angelico. The Fundación Amigos gave a very large contribution to the museum's funding for this acquisition. And we are so lucky that right next to these beautiful, the Virgin of the Pomegranate, the predella of the Annunciation, we also have one of American Friends' early projects, which was to help fund the museum's restoration of the Annunciation by Fra Angelico. And this we did in equal collaboration thanks to the generosity of the Friends of Florence as well. And at that same time, American Friends was able to quickly give to the Restoration Laboratory the newest and highest technologically advanced infrared camera, which the laboratory uses to study all of the works before they head to restoration. So that was one of our early projects. And now in our 10th year, our latest contribution is to help the museum. We've matched it with equal funds, matched the museum, the Prado Museum with equal funds to acquire this exquisite work by the artist Paolo de San Leocadio. So Paolo de San Leocadio is an Italian artist born in 1447, trained in Ferrara and Padua, and he leaves Italy at the call of the Cardinal Rodrigo de Borja of the Borgia family to come to Valencia, the Valencia area in Spain, where he sets up workshop, and he works probably for the next 3 decades. So he's an Italian master who moves to Spain, and he really helps introduce the Renaissance, the Italian Renaissance techniques into that city and the area of influence. And what we have is the Agony in the Garden is from the Passion, stories of the Passion of Christ in the Bible, in the Gospels, where after the Last Supper, Jesus takes his disciples to the Garden of Gethsemane, which is an olive garden on the outskirts of Jerusalem, and he asked them to accompany him, and especially ask him to accompany Peter, James, and John, and leaves the other 9 disciples a little bit further away. And he wants them to accompany him in his prayer to God, where he's praying that if, Lord, his future crucifixion on the cross, if this cup can be passed over me, may it happen, but your will be done, Lord. So here we have the angel with the cup, and this comes from the scriptures, Jesus praying and accepting God's will, and then the scriptures say his disappointment in his apostles that cannot stay awake to accompany him in this such dramatic moment in his life. And so we have this beautiful, I love that where we're looking at right now, that these disciples are behind a hill in this Garden of Gethsemane, this technique that Paolo de San Leocadio has to create that extra space and area within the painting. And we also know from his painting technique and influence that he must have known work by Andrea Mantegna and probably the Venetian work of Giovanni Bellini, which I take advantage to remind everyone were brother-in-laws. Andrea Mantegna and Giovanni Bellini were brother-in-laws, so they obviously knew each other, especially on a personal level, and knew their work. But so here we have the Paolo de San Leocadio next to the Andrea Mantegna, there's an Agony in the Garden of Andrea Mantegna that also has a triangular composition, a pyramid composition that we see here, and the colors and the crispness of the folds in the tunics and the cloaks, the crispness, the colors are also reminiscent of this technique that's used by Andrea Mantegna, and the colorism, the shiny enamel that takes us back also to works of Giovanni Bellini, the Venetian color painting. The Ferrara school and techniques brings a more of a softness to the face, but what we have overall is a beautiful Agony in the Garden in this landscape of Jerusalem. And then we also see the soldiers coming to arrest Christ. And here we have Judas coming, who's going to give Jesus a kiss to identify him as Jesus for the arrest. So I'd like to take a moment after these 10 years to thank everyone who's made American Friends what it is. I'd like to thank our donors, the 5 works of art that we've now helped bring to the museum, the Velázquez, the Giulio Clovio, the Picasso, the Bourassa, and now help with the Paolo de San Leocadio. Thank all of our generous donors who made each one of those donations possible. And thank our founders that are volunteers and donors that make this institution run. Thank also our yearly contributors, and especially in this case, those who made an extraordinary donation for the Paolo de San Leocadio matching fund contribution. Thank you very much. And please, we encourage everyone who would like to get involved to find out more about American Friends on our website. And if you're in Spain, the Fundación Amigos del Museo del Prado, and also come to the museum to see this new painting that's hanging here for just a few weeks. And we will see you again next week with our session in English on another great work of art of the Prado Museum.